Good day everyone! We are now in quarter 3 week 3 of grade 8 mathematics. This is entitled Triangle Congruence. So in quarter 3 week 3, we have only one competency. This is entitled Illustrates Triangle Congruence. Now are you ready? In the past video, we have a game entitled Where Do I Fit? And we answered that the red triangle fits in the hole number 2 and the blue triangle fits in the hole number 3 and the yellow triangle fits in the hole number 1, and we have a good job. And also, we can observe that you can make your hands coincide if there is a correspondence between the fingers. That is, the index finger of your left hand should be paired with the index finger at your right hand, and that thumbs to your another thumb, and so on. We also discussed that in a triangle ABC and triangle DEF, A can be paired up with D, B with E, and C with F. This pairing up of vertices can be described by using the symbol of correspondence, which is like this. In this correspondence, there are 3 pairs of corresponding angles and 3 pairs of corresponding sides. And the corresponding angles are: angle A corresponds to angle D, angle B corresponds to angle E, angle C corresponds to angle F, and for the corresponding sides, we have segment AB correspond to segment DE, segment AC which is correspond to segment DF, and segment BC correspond to segment EF. And let us now proceed to the definition of congruent triangles. It states that if the correspondence between pair of 2 angles is congruent, then we can say the 2 triangles are congruent, like triangle XYZ and triangle QRS. Or in short, this is what we call the CPCTC, or corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. We have here angle X is congruent to angle Q, and angle X and angle Q are correspond with each other. Angle Y, which is congruent to angle R, and angle Z, which is also congruent to angle S. And for the side, we have segment XY from the first triangle that is congruent to the segment QR to the second triangle. And segment YZ is congruent to segment RS. And also we have segment XZ which is congruent to segment QS. And since all pairs of corresponding parts are congruent as indicated, we can say that triangle XYZ and triangle QRS are congruent triangles. Now, let us proceed to the theorem, where it states that congruence for triangles is reflexive, symmetric, and transitive. Now, let us first prove that congruence for triangles is reflexive. So, given here a triangle ABC, and we will prove that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle ABC. Are you ready? Yes! Let us start proving. So we have here given, which is triangle ABC, and we will prove that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle ABC. When we are proving, we use 2-column table, wherein one column stands for statement and for another column is for the reason. So first, we have triangle ABC in the first statement, and its reason, it is given. Then next is the segment AB is congruent to segment AB, segment BC is congruent to segment BC, and segment AC is congruent to segment AC. And its reason is by reflexive property. And next is, let us proceed to the angle, wherein angle A is congruent to angle A, angle B is congruent to angle B, and angle C is congruent to angle C. And definition is, or the reason is by reflexive property. Now, Since all pairs of corresponding parts are congruent, we now prove that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle ABC, and its reason is by definition of congruent triangle. Now we will prove that congruence of triangles is symmetric given any triangles DEF and GHI such that triangle DEF is congruent to triangle GHI. Now we will gonna prove that triangle GHI is congruent to triangle DEF. So here given that triangle DEF is congruent to triangle GHI, and we will prove that triangle GHI is congruent to triangle DEF. Now, are you ready? So let's start proving. Still, we will use a 2-column table, 1 column for the statement and 1 column for the reason. So the given is any triangles DEF and GHI such that triangle DEF is congruent to triangle GHI, and we need to prove that triangle GHI is congruent to triangle DEF. So are we ready? Let us start by triangle DEF is congruent to triangle GHI, and its reason is that is given. Next is segment DE from the first triangle is congruent to segment GH from the second triangle, and segment EF is congruent to segment HI. Segment DF is congruent to segment GI. And for the angles, we have angle D from the first triangle that is congruent to angle G from the second triangle. And angle E is congruent to angle H, and angle F that is congruent to angle I. And its reason is the CPCTC. And what is CPCTC again? So CPCTC stands for corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Next is segment GH is congruent to segment DE, and segment HI from the second triangle is congruent to segment EF. Segment GI is congruent to segment DF, and for the angles, we have angle G from the second triangle that is congruent to angle D from the first triangle. Angle H is congruent to angle E, and angle I that is congruent to angle F. And that is the symmetric property of congruence. Now, we already proved that triangle GHI is congruent to triangle DEF by the definition of congruent triangles. So that is our lesson for week 3 of quarter 3 grade 8 mathematics. And this is our reference. So goodbye everyone, stay sane and stay safe and enjoy mathematics.